Worship.
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 Now, what is worship? For as long as man has been on this planet, he has always searched for a higher being to rule over him, or power that makes others follow him. He is always searching for things, objects, and people to worship. It may be nature and all things on this planet. It could be people with higher positions or higher power. We crave subjugation or someone to rule over us. We know that we are weak and prone to mistakes. That is why we look for almighty elements and forces around us to worship and follow. Worship is an excessive admiration for something or someone.
How do we worship? Now, going through the history of man, different cultures have had their own way of worshiping. The Vikings worshiped nature in a calm and respectful manner, despite their violent nature. The ancient Egyptians worshipped animals and sought great admiration to their pharaohs and people with great positions. The Greeks worshipped varieties of gods with superhuman characteristics and powers over the elements. Same goes with Aztecs and Mayans. Their worship required a huge amount of violence and human sacrifice in order to communicate with their gods. But what about now? We worship a deity who walked this earth, lived as a human, and died a death to save us. Many humans died for their gods, but he was a god that died for men.
What do we worship? Now finally, what or who shall we worship? A person I admire or inspire? A thing that helps me and makes my life easier? Do I worship the elements or the many gods? Or do I remain atheist, being religiously independent? No, I worship a God unlike any other gods or forces of nature. I worship the God who created all of these, even the unlimited creativity of man. I am his greatest masterpiece, his beloved child, and I worship him because out of all the other people, gods, or objects in which sometimes we worship, he replies back, notices us, and loves us.